What's going on, everyone? I'm just your everyday average Canadian nerd, here to react to your every average day American man, here to find out symbols that represent Canada. Now, of course, we've got the maple leaf, the maple syrup, the maple donut. I'm kidding, but Tim Hortons is definitely one of those symbols, along with the beaver, along with the caribou, and, well, along with the Newfoundland accent. Aside from that, I guess we're gonna watch to find out. And yes, this is another top 10 video. Let's see how up-to-date this video was. It was recorded 9 months ago, and he's reacting to something that, I don't know, we'll find out. So let's just get this image out of the way, and we'll get right into today's video.
What's going on, everyone? I'm just an average American here today to react and learn about the top 10 symbols of Canada.
10.
Canada, I mean, if you were to ask,
The
ask an
Mountie.
American
Yeah.
what the symbol of Canada was, I think
Maple leaf.
almost 10 out of 10 Americans would say the maple leaf.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the Canadian flag, but
Also the maple syrup.
Symbol of Canada? That's like saying, what's the symbol of America? I think a lot of people in America would say it's an eagle.
Lady Liberty,
That's kind of like
the
a bird
eagle.
that's always represented America.
Oh, the hamburger where the bun is made of donuts.
I don't know if other places around
that's
the
a real
world
thing.
think about that, but when we think of Canada, we think of the maple leaf, maple syrup. I've talked about maple syrup many times before. Don't get me started on the maple syrup. But
Mountie.
anyway, maybe that's on this list. Maybe it's not. Maybe
It will be.
Justified in my obsession. But anyway, let's find out. Top 10 symbols of Canada. Who
Top
knows?
10.
For this list, we've decided to stick with
Yeah,
things
Tim
and
Hortons.
not people.
With
Oh,
the
right.
lady from Stargate, SG-1. Interesting.
I was mostly thinking of things as well, because a symbol of Canada, I guess, could be a famous Canadian or historical figure, but this is, okay, just stuff that represents Canada. I like that.
Guess she's
Number
Canadian?
The loon.
The loon. So
Fair.
a loon, I didn't know what a loon was,
I didn't know it was exclusively Canadian.
actually, but luckily they have a picture here.
And the sound bit, which is completely authentic.
It's kind of like a duck. It's a bird. It's,
It is a bird,
do
Tyler,
Canadians-
yeah.
Are they very familiar with loons?
Yes, growing up, my family had a cottage on Lake Cashabog, and the loon would wake us up every morning and make noise all day and all night.
Yeah, I never knew what a loon was. I don't even know if I would have known what that word was.
Kicking off our list is a symbol of the Canadian wilderness.
Canadian wilderness, nice. I wonder why this is so important in
Because we have a lot of water, and this is a waterfowl.
particular.
Many Canucks spend their summers at cottages or camping, and
See?
that's where most hear the loon's iconic call.
There you go.
Oh, that's neat, man.
Yeah.
I never knew what a loon was, and I certainly have never heard a loon's call until right now, this second. Breaking news for me.
And because the loon is on our $1 coin, that's why it's called a loonie. There you go, Tyler.
It was a toss-up
Okay.
between
Kind of sounds like a turkey a little bit. A little bit more elegant than a turkey, but
Very
kind
much
of a
so.
similar gobbling sound thing going on there.
Far more elegant.
Yeah.
It was a toss-up between the loon and the Canada goose to see which would make our list, but
Yeah.
their $1 coin is called a loonie, so that's gotta be worth something.
Really?
Yeah.
See, this is one of those like very intricate details I would never know. That is loony like a slang term for a dollar coin, or is it an official term? Like you can call a U.S. dollar a buck. That's like kind of a common phrase for it.
It is the name for the $1 coin. This was in the money video he covered the week before. This is astounding.
Canada's new dollar coin, convenient currency, and it's here now. Go with it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's on the dollar coin, I think the loon deserves its spot.
Number 9. Maple syrup.
I'm justified.
Well, it's good to know he's learned something over this past several weeks that he was doing this 9 months ago.
It's turned me into a mad scientist. A mad maple scientist. That maple syrup is on the list. Canadians, do Canadians associate maple syrup with Canada in the way that Americans associate it with? Because it's like, I don't know what the equivalent for America would be. Like, I always say ranch dressing or something. Americans
It's ridiculous.
would kind of say, yeah, ranch. America and ranch goes together. Yeah, like peas in a pod. And we'd think that was kind of funny, kind of true. So is that what it is in Canada? Maple syrup and Canada go together. Like, it's kind of a funny thing, but it's also has a lot of truth to it. That's what I think is happening here.
Like, do Americans drink ranch dressing?
One benefit to 6 months of winter is maple syrup. Not
Yeah.
Mrs. Butterworth's, Aunt Jemima, or some other imposter. Real maple syrup from maple trees.
Do they add ranch into breakfast cereals?
Ooh, you know, I wonder if I've probably never in my life had
A ranch dressing donut?
genuine, authentic maple syrup. I've probably only had some kind of American knockoff made of weird syrup additives and imposters, and
It's corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. That's what you've had.
that just still tastes delicious. Don't get me wrong.
Would you add ranch dressing to your high fructose corn syrup?
I'm a sucker. I'm still just an American who's a sucker for fake fake syrup. But
And ranch
I'd
dressing.
love to have whatever. If there is an authentic maple syrup, I'd love to have it. I'd drink it.
Over
If-
80% of the world's maple syrup comes from Canada, so that's why it's such a...
Whoa, how much?
Over 80% of the world's maple syrup comes...
80%.
If I happen to be obstinate at all in this video, I'd like to give it some context. I woke up today to find that my YouTube channel was permanently disabled due to scams. And I'm not a scammer, so I don't know what that was about. But I appealed, it was reversed, and here we are. I don't get it. Let's continue.
But we might be talking about this very pure, very authentic maple syrup, and there's still a lot of kind of crappy fake syrup that the rest of the world purchases and whatnot outside of Canada.
So that's why it's such a hot commodity in souvenir shops.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah.
they put that on everything.
They,
Yeah.
I think Americans would agree with that statement.
It's such a hot commodity in souvenir shops. Plus, they put that on everything.
Yeah.
Pancakes, Canadian bacon, or as they call it, back bacon, beans, even snow.
Yeah, this snow maple syrup treat thing. This seems so Canadian to me that I want it. You know, at first I was a little put off by it, but now I would I'd take a bite, or maybe you lick it, I don't know.
It's really good on snow. Number 8. Wilderness.
Wilderness.
There are a lot of countries that have wilderness. I guess we just have a lot of it.
Wilderness as a symbol of Canada.
Sure.
It's not as clean as loon or syrup, because we're talking about wilderness in general.
It's
but,
no beaver.
It makes sense if wilderness is a huge part of the culture.
Contrary to popular belief, most Canadians don't live in igloos.
Ha!
But it can be cold. We're talking minus 40 in the dead of winter cold.
Dang.
Yes, that's Celsius.
And Fahrenheit. To be accurate, they're both minus 40 at minus 40.
Wow. Must have been cold.
What makes living in Canada worth it, among other things, is the striking natural scenery.
Yeah, I've reacted to a couple of Canadian scenery, and it is beautiful. Americans
no
don't, naturally associate that with Canada. The genuine, astounding beauty,
Yes.
More beautiful than
You're welcome.
lots of places in America could never show you sites that I've seen in videos on Canada. It's
And there's a lot of places in the United States that are comparable, like Virginia.
quite amazing.
Aside from the fact that the Canadian side of Niagara Falls is way better, the landscapes got everything. Mountains, valleys, prairies, forests,
Yeah.
glaciers,
Uh-huh.
beaches. Hey,
Islands.
Yeah, a huge diversity of nature. My goodness. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool to have all in one country.
And we do have deserts. They're just Arctic deserts.
don't call it the Great White North for nothing.
So the whole thing is the Great White North, and the blue, like the ocean, right? Because water's blue.
He's a genius, eh?
Number 7.
Goo-loo-goo-goo-goo-goo-goo. Goo-loo-goo-goo-goo-goo-goo. Bob and Doug. Yeah.
Beer? Do Canadians like beer? Love beer? I didn't really think, I didn't make that association. Americans. Beer could be a symbol of America for sure.
Okay, but American beer is like light beer. American beer is close to water. If you have a Canadian beer, that's a good beer. If you have an American beer, that's like, please give me a Canadian beer.
Americans love beer, but so do a lot of places in the world actually have.
And they're all different. Like German beer, best served at room temperature, right? But Canadian beer, like American, best served cold and served better because it's better.
Pretty large associations with beer. But I didn't think Canada was necessarily one of them.
Beer.
Oof.
With a drinking age of either 18 or 19, Canucks get a leg up on their American counterparts when it comes to boozing.
Yeah. Americans
Absolutely.
have to wait till 21.
Which is
years old.
ridiculous.
And they definitely never break that rule. Ever.
But
No.
it makes a lot of sense considering that the brain doesn't stop developing until like age 24, which is why relationships that start before 24 often end in disaster because people develop into who they become, and if they don't develop together, they develop apart. It's a real shame.
Definitely not.
Beer may not be the most sophisticated beverage on the market, but Canadians love making it and they love drinking it even more. Grab a 2-4 of Molson or Labatt's, tuck in to heckle Coach's Corner. Now that's a Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm rich. I'm richer than you, and you can speak.
I bet Canadians love a good beer with like a hockey game or something, huh?
Great, so don't start
Yeah.
telling.
Oh man, I almost said A. I'm almost that would have been such a good.
He's interrupting Don Cherry. I don't think he knows who Don Cherry is.
Does and A kind of count? You know, that would have been such a good opportunity. Canadians love a big beer with their hockey match, eh?
Tell me how to I can count.
Take off, hoser. Number 6. Moot.
Moose.
Moose.
Yes, I should have thought of this. I don't know if this is correct or not.
Oh, yeah.
But apparently it is correct. Americans really, really think about moose when they think of Canada.
Huh. So no moose in the States. We have very few moose in Ontario. They're mostly a central and western creature. But oh boy, are they special and big.
Almost to the extent where cartoons would show like a Canadian riding a moose or something, which would be absurd, I know, unless that's
Yeah.
true.
No.
But
I mean, it is absurd, that is true, but it is not true in that we do not ride moose.
yes, moose for sure. I agree.
Moose. This Canadian icon is a brunette beauty with nice legs and a great rack.
Moose are actually amazing. I've never seen a moose in real life,
And you don't want to.
but I believe they're like enormous.
Yeah.
Scary. They'd probably scare me. It's quite an animal. It's like, gosh.
Like, I'm a big human, and those things are much, much bigger than me. Like, they're standing on all four legs. They are taller than me standing on both my legs.
I don't even know what to compare it to. A deer on steroids or something.
Sorry guys, we're talking about the moose. The moose is a symbol of honor,
Kinda?
durability, and determination. Plus,
Yeah.
they're absolutely everywhere in the Canadian wilderness.
Really? That's so cool. It is a very noble creature. Very.
Okay, that's fair. Like in northern and western Ontario, I believe there are moose. It's just in eastern Ontario, no moose. We have deer.
Strong. That's a really good symbol to have for a nation.
The white-tailed deer.
Canada, I'm a little jealous of this one.
They also make great mascots, mementos, and money. Okay,
Yeah.
technically that's a caribou on the quarter, but you
Right,
get it.
caribou.
Caribou. I have heard of that, sorta, kind of like a deer. Everything's just like a deer. That's the only way I can understand the world.
Close
Number
enough.
5, the beaver. No,
The beaver.
no, not Bieber.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's beaver. The beaver. The beaver. Are there a lot of beavers in Canada? I
Yes.
never really thought about this.
Beaver. Another important animal, the beaver was historically at the center of Canada's hunting and fur trade. It even became a symbol for the iconic Hudson's Bay Company as early
Yeah.
as 1678.
It's on the
Okay.
nickel.
Stamps, it's on the nickel. It's been the national animal since 1975.
Yeah?
Is it really the national animal? That's not the moose?
Yeah.
Or the loon? It's the beaver?
Yes, because of the beaver, Canada became what it is today. The beaver are everywhere, damming up rivers, building their lodges, chopping down trees. Beavers are fantastic. They're really cute, and don't get too close to one of them because they really bite. And the main reason why they gnaw on trees is because they're a member of the Rodentia family, and if they didn't gnaw on the trees, their teeth would just continue to grow and pierce right through their bottom jaw, right?
I mean, the beaver is. If you had told me, like right now, that the beaver is a symbol of Canada, I would have. Something deep in me is like, yeah, I think I've heard of that.
Yes, you have. And let's go back to the beaver tail. A national treat since the 1970s, developed just outside of the Ottawa region and has now spread all over. In fact, yesterday I was at the Outlet Mall in Niagara and I saw a beaver tail hut and I got a classic and it was good, soft on the outside, crunchy in the middle, and ridiculously covered in sugar. Like 20 minutes later, I was still getting sugar out of my mustache and beard.
But I'm shocked that it is so prominent and such a large symbol, if it is.
It is.
It's on stamps and stuff, so.
And money.
Yeah, this one kind of surprises me. I didn't know this.
Canadians really love
At
their
this beer
beavers.
commercial.
Okay.
Get your mind out of the gutter. Number 4, Tim Hortons.
Tim freaking Hortons. I have heard of this. I am aware of Tim Hortons now. And this definitely deserves to be on this list. It's like the super convenience store. Like, I almost wanted to compare it to a gas station, but it's way better than a gas station.
It's like a Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, that's practically it, only it's more than a Dunkin' Donuts.
Where they make all this fresh desserts and they have a menu and coffee and yeah, seems like a really cool place. I mean, I don't know what to compare it to in America. If 7-Eleven or if that's putting Tim Hortons too short. I feel like Tim Hortons is a little better than that.
So 7-Eleven is a general store. And yes, they have food and drink, but it's not like a fast food menu above your head like at a Tim Hortons. The Tim Hortons is closer to the Dunkin' Donuts, only in addition to donuts and coffee, there is a bunch of other specialty drinks like at Starbucks. And there are sandwiches, soups, chili, wraps, more. They used to sell cake. The muffins are special. Some of them are stuffed on the inside. They're fantastic for sugary, starchy snacks.
If you've ever visited the Great White North, you may have ordered a double-double and some Timbits, or
Yeah, it has like names for foods, double double. So this is like far more legitimate of a place to eat than what I'm thinking of. So I don't even know what to compare it to.
There was one time I was up in Owen Sound for business, and near the hotel, there was a Tim Hortons. It was maybe half a kilometer walk away. And I relied on that Tim Hortons to have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner because the hotel's colonial breakfast wasn't that good.
In America.
At least seen how pervasive.
Do Canadians consider it fast food? It's
Yes.
not like this is a McDonald's type place, is it?
Timmy's is.
No.
Why don't we go to Tim's? You think there's one around here? Obviously.
Think of it this way. Starbucks has just over 30% of the US coffee market. Tim Hortons has over 60% of Canada's. That's like more.
Wow. So, yeah, Americans get a lot of their coffee at gas stations or Starbucks. So for Tim Hortons to have 60% of the coffee market is incredible.
More than one on every corner. Plus, only Canadians would name a coffee chain after a hockey player, eh?
I mean, it's...
Oh, he was a hockey player.
Yes, the hockey player who opened the franchise.
I didn't even think about that. I was like, yeah, Tim Hortons, that's the name. It's like, probably it has a history. It's a person.
Yes.
I didn't know.
the best of all Canadian worlds. It's named after a hockey player. You get donuts, you get coffee, and the help is very polite.
I mean, if Colin Mockery says it's true, then it's true.
Colin Mockery being Canadian. And an interesting fact about the Tim Hortons uniforms, they are designed in order to reduce curves and sexual appeal so that anybody wearing one of those brown uniforms is just an automaton. They are a human. They are not meant to be attractive. They are not meant to be hit on, but I'm sure it happens anyway.
Number 3.
Oh, fudge.
The
Oh.
Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Mounties. This is one of there's like 5 or 6 things Americans think of when they think of Canada. The average American.
One of them, yeah.
And Mounties is like one of those. It's
Yes.
because it's such a striking image
Yes.
to Americans with the hat and the red, and they're in all this different American pop culture. When a Canada gets shown on a cartoon or something or whatever,
It's always a
there's
Mountie.
for some reason, there's always a Mountie. Like, Americans love to put that in there. So I'm very aware of this symbol.
Coming in just ahead of the lumberjack as a representation
Huh.
of Canadian brawn is the
Yeah.
RCMP. According to the stereotype, a Mountie is polite, stoic, and always gets his man. So
Yeah.
Dudley Do-Right.
I know it must be hard for you to believe, you with your eyes as blue and heart so true.
But this isn't even the Americans mostly think this is like the normal Canadian police force. Like, these are cops. This is the police. I'm pretty sure Mounties are a special
federal.
police
hear it.
force, if you want to say,
Coast to coast.
or just a
Federal?
force where
Wrong
they're
F word.
specially trained. They are mounted on horses for more specific duties than that.
Like the ride program, or the mounted ride, the changing of the guard, the horse parades are fantastic.
Whether or not that's true, the RCMP is a symbol of Canada. And
Yeah.
the uniform of a red serge, Stetson, and jodhpurs is iconic. You know how firemen
Yeah.
are hot? It's kind of like that. Number 2.
It is an iconic look. Oh, look at this. We got hockey.
Okay,
yeah,
hockey.
I knew it.
Hockey. Canadians spend their childhoods playing it on frozen ponds, their Saturday nights watching it on the CBC, and their summers waiting for it to start again.
I mean, hockey is awesome. It's just not that commonly played in America. Definitely not ice hockey, because you can only play that indoors.
I hope he knows about street hockey.
We don't get enough ice and snow.
Ball hockey?
And Americans are just too obsessed with football
Intramural hockey?
and baseball and basketball that hockey gets pushed to the side like other sports. But hockey's badass, and I'd be a fan. Like, if I was in Canada, I know I'd be one of them.
Hockey is the true national sport of Canada, and
Okay.
it props up another Canuck icon, the beer industry. Canadians take their hot...
Wow, you see the curve on that stick? That was ridiculous. Can we just go back a moment
And
here
it props
and
up-
check out the curve on that stick? Like, So I remember when I was young and taking up hockey because that's a Canadian thing, right? And we learned how to curve the stick. You step on one end and you lift up the other, and that's how you gradually get a curve. That, though, that looks like it was curved by a machine. Yeah, I was never that great at hockey. I never learned stick control. I liked playing nets, but I wasn't fond of getting hit with pucks.
Another Canuck icon, the beer industry. Canadians take their
That was great.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, beer and hockey. There is a Canadian symbol for you.
hockey seriously, like riot seriously.
Like some places around here, instead of having like a metal handle for the door, they have a hockey stick. Yeah.
And they practically worship their holy grail, Lord Stanley's Cup.
And in fact, I think one of my neighbors, for their front porch, instead of a wooden lattice of like vertical sticks, it's hockey sticks.
The Stanley Cup, emblematic of the World's Championship.
Number 1.
Of course.
Maple Leaf, okay.
This makes complete sense, and it's definitely the symbol I thought of for Canada.
The maple leaf.
No.
Taking the top spot on our list is the definitive symbol of Canada.
Yes, every American would say maple leaf.
I think it's globally recognized.
I mean, one in a million would say something like, Mountie or Moose or maple syrup. But most would remember the great maple leaf.
Yeah, when I was traveling Amsterdam in my youth, having the maple leaf somewhere on us got us great treatment. Everyone was very pleasant and happy to speak with us.
Maple is the king of the Canadian forest, and its leaf is on the penny and the flag. Ahead
Yes.
of beer, beavers, and Timmies, the maple leaf is the symbol of peace, unity, and tolerance that Canadians identify with most.
Beer commercial.
It's the second largest landmass, the first nation of hockey, and the best part of North America!
Canada's a great country, eh?
Okay.
Tell us which symbols you think we've missed by subscribing to...
Oh, that's it. That's it. The
Okay.
leaf got the top spot. The maple leaf. That was Watch Mojo. Very nice.
Of course.
list. I liked that. a
Mojo
lot.
does lists. That's their job.
I did. This list had a lot of things on it that I...
You know what has a lot of things on it? His desk beside him. Really makes me wonder what some of these things are. Like, what's up with that mug? Why does it seem to never move? And why doesn't that can have a top to it? And what is, in fact, in that can? I'm not familiar with the coloration, but I have a feeling like it's a lubricant or an adhesive of some sort, which is really curious why it's on that desk with a monitor. But that doesn't matter.
I had sort of forgotten about. And then as soon as they said it, I was like, oh, yes, that's something Americans know about. I think like roughly 50% of these I had heard of at some point, and then a couple of them are like, absolutely, maple syrup, moose, maple leaf. And I was actually really happy that this list, if this list is true, I don't know if it is true or not.
True enough.
I don't know if a Canadian created this list.
Probably not.
But if this list is true, it really confirms a lot of the things I didn't know if they were true or not, about some things that America thinks about Canada and that are symbols of Canada.
Yes, the list was accurate. Was it 100% truth and the most accurate? I don't know. I don't think so, but sure, why not?
That I never really know, because it's always in the back of my mind. Is that true? I've never been to Canada. I've never had a Canadian say that they like maple syrup or that beavers are important or
They're
the
so
wilderness or the hockey. But
I grew up in a forest, so wilderness is kind of important, yeah.
yeah, seems like a lot of it actually is. Americans, for the most part, have a lot of it correct.
Like, I'm not even a hockey fan, and I know all the hockey terms.
Some of the things they think. So that's good,
I know more about hockey than he does, for sure. Like, there's an Eastern and Western division, that Stanley Cup and the NHL are multinational. It's not just an American thing. It's an American and Canadian thing.
Well, at least we know something. Anyway, If you enjoyed this video,
or if you
feel
did
free to give it a
enjoy
like
this one, I
or
mean.
leave a comment.
Like,
And if you're
comment.
interested in more videos like this,
More of me,
reacting to Canada,
more of him and
Canadian
me
culture,
together,
things like
my
this
cat
I've never
going
seen,
meow
feel free to
sometimes.
subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.
And yes, thank you very much for watching. I'm glad to be able to post something today because I didn't think I was going to be able to. And I hope you've enjoyed even a little bit as much as I have. And if you have enjoyed, please let me know something you enjoyed about it. Let me know if you want me to be doing something different. Hey, let me know, how are you doing? Because I'm okay, and I'm getting hungry. Are you hungry? You're probably thirsty. You should drink some water. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks for joining me. I'll just keep being awesome. Bye.
Science. Spirit. Life. Nerd Pope King.